Hello, everyone, Gatovians, everybody that is here. I'm so
Hi
happy to be
guys.
here again. With me is Claudio Chimini. I'm Ignacio, and also known as RG. And today we're going to be showing you a couple of really cool games and a really cool developer. So it's going to be a very action-packed day for sure. We're going to have not just games, but also a lot of stories, a lot of getting to know the dev, which is the name of the show. Claudio, how are you doing today? Is everything okay on your side?
Yes, pretty well, pretty well.
Awesome. That is
Always
great.
late here in Italy, but awesome.
Yeah. Where are
Always
you in
nice to
Italy, by the
join.
way? Where are you in Italy?
In the middle Italy,
Middle
center
Italy.
in East Coast,
That is perfect.
center East Coast.
That is
That
great.
that part.
In my case, I'm in Mexico City, so we have a full crew all around the world. The developer that we're going to be introducing here today comes from the Philippines. He just told us it's very hot over there. It's also very hot here in Mexico. In Italy, I don't know if it's super hot in Italy in your part.
It's chilly. It's chilly, but it's
Okay,
getting springtime, so it's getting
mhm.
nicer
That's really cool.
pretty
That is good.
soon.
Yeah. So please, Claudio, why don't you do the introduction so we can all be ready? This person, we have all played their games. We have all really just enjoyed the experience of not just playing but consistently losing until we finally got good at the game. Claudio, please welcome him.
Welcome in to Paolo Lazatin, the winner of the Gato Quest, the Gato Game Quest, and welcome in. How are you?
Hi everyone. Thank you for having me, and thanks for the introduction.
Yeah.
Uh, so yeah, my name is Paula, and yeah,
Yeah. So your name is Paul, and you've been a great developer with us, right? Like, I mean, some of the games that you've developed are some of the hardest ones, some of the most rewarding ones to really get, to understand, to play, to master. And today we're going to be asking you some questions for people to get to know you a little bit better. So there's going to be a lot of questions that are going to date back to your beginnings. People in chat are also going to be able to ask some questions, and I'm going to be reading them with Claudio. But first of all, why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself? As much as you want to share. Have you studied game development professionally? Is it something that you just do as a hobby? Tell us a little bit more about yourself.
yeah. So I'm from the Philippines, and I finished multimedia arts with hopes of creating video games someday. Unfortunately, back then, the video game industry in the Philippines wasn't really there. It was almost non-existent. So my first few jobs were mostly web and graphic design. I eventually landed a game job for a mobile game company.
Hey,
Fell in love all the more with creating games, specifically computer graphics. So we went to Canada for a while, studied, became a 3D artist. Mostly model texture, 3D
wow.
characters and props. Um, but yeah, I kind of wanted to do a little bit more of indie game development, and it's just completely different. So it's
Yeah.
Yeah,
simpler, but at the same time, it's really hard. I can't
Yeah.
describe it.
I
Yeah. And
understand you very well, actually, Paolo, because I kind of have the same. We kindly, had the same road, because I also was in 3D. Um, so yeah, I understand. I understand.
yeah. And
Cool.
one thing that we wanted to ask you, I mean, is what was the first game you ever played in your life? That is like the first question that everybody wanted to know.
First game.
Yeah.
Hmm. First game, I guess, would be Tetris. I think.
Okay.
Yeah.
What
Uh,
console did you play it in?
um, I'm pretty sure it was the Game Boy. Same
Okay.
console. I had what do you call this? I had this Play Me Loud Game Boy,
Uh-huh.
the transparent one. That was the
Oh
first
yeah.
one that I had. actually skipped a lot of lunches just to get that, just to be able to buy that from my friend. So that was my first console, which is actually like the reason why I chose like a retro Game Boy style for the toe. It's because the Game Boy, the original Game Boy, the DMG one, is my first console ever. So it
Wow.
actually sparked my passion for video games.
Yeah, and I mean there are some great games on the original Game Boy. I still remember this advert that was on the back of the gaming magazines when I was young. That was for the Game Boy Color, and you had like the different people with like the different colors in their in their hair, and then there was the transparent one, and it was like a bald. I think it was like a bald girl or a bald guy.
Mm,
That was the transparent Game Boy, and everybody wanted that because it looked like the coolest one. So that is
yeah.
pretty
Yeah,
awesome.
yeah, absolutely. I mean, I actually still have that Game Boy with me. It's just that
Wow,
there's no screen burn, but it works perfectly fine. So.
that is awesome.
Mm.
That is super cool. And Claudio, do you want to ask a question from your side?
Yeah, I mean, yes, we're gonna get can deep dive into like more into specific games or I don't know. Maybe we can ask more some question about his background. I mean,
Yeah.
so Paolo, how many years ago did you start to make this? These games to learn how to use construct, or if you even before try to use other engines, or how was your approach uh, on the beginning of it?
Actually, started studying game dev pretty early. Like even when I was still in school. I think
Nice.
the
Okay.
software was Click and Play, uh, by Click Team. It's like a um, no code game development software. So that was my first exposure with game development.
Mhm.
And then um, I took up programming and studied a little bit of game engines, but for indie game development, actually, I only took it seriously like last year, well, a little bit more than
Wow.
a year. So I still had the technical knowledge that I gained over the years, but the thing was, before I never really got to finish any of the stuff that I started. I mean, it's
Okay.
a pretty common disease with indie game developers. They
Hmm.
try to take on something way too big for themselves. Like they're gonna be like, "Oh, I'm gonna do the biggest next Street Fighter thing or
Yeah,
something."
definitely.
So, and
Yeah.
then like not even one third of the way they burn out because they realize how difficult it is. So, I ran into that situation several times. So, for like last year, I decided, like to just drop all these ambitions and just start really simple.
Mhm.
Uh, so I started to like make games. The first one, I think, what do you call this? I tried to remake an old game that I made, Gone in 60 Seconds, which is
Oh,
on Gato.
yeah.
Uh, I
Okay.
just reused the assets. And the other one was just a remake of Dope Wars, which is just a window type game. There's really no graphics for the game, but it was really popular back then. So I just decided I would do simple things first, and try not to get carried away. And
Hmm.
I think it kind of worked because I was able to finish like four. I have four games now, and I
Wow.
think from there I can just try to take on more complex projects afterwards. But at least now, I can say I started and I finished some of the stuff. And even though I've been doing, and even though I understood how to make games, it's just that finishing is completely different. So yeah.
That is really
And
cool.
yeah, awesome. And you were already publishing your game, or it was just practicing, like, or you were already kind of wanted to publish a game and were publishing your game
Uh,
somewhere, or no?
not really published. It's
Okay.
just more of it, like I mentioned before. I used to think like I could do this and that, and I would normally underestimate how difficult things are. So what
Mm-hmm.
happens is I never really even get to the publishing stage, with the exception of like actually Gun in 60 Seconds was already done for Android before a couple of
Hmm.
years back. Uh, that's why the current one is called Remix. It's just the same thing, but a few more updates. But that was like the only time I was able to publish on my own, and I thought like it can be like an accident. It has to happen again. I want to be able to publish again. I
Mm.
wanted to prove to myself that it wasn't a fluke.
So
Okay.
that you can say was your, like, the biggest challenge of it, or
Uh,
no?
the biggest challenge, I guess, for making the games is like staying within like what you said you do and not getting carried away. Because normally, like midway, even though I already stripped down the concept several times, it's still really tempting to like add more features, details, characters, blah blah blah. Blah. So
Mm.
it's really took everything for me to stop myself from like changing stuff or like even starting a completely different project.
Mhm.
I think that's where like the game jam that I entered in, the 20-second game jam, that was actually a really good thing for me because it kind of forced me to finish like
Oh.
everything within the bounds, you know. Whereas if I was just doing things leisurely on my own, I'd probably get carried away and like put it aside, start something new, and then forget about it, and then next thing you know, it's another one added to the pile of unfinished projects. So
Yeah. Yeah, and I
Definitely,
think
yeah.
yeah, and I think that it must be like very, you know, it must feel like very weird for you because you have all of these ideas of mechanics that you want to put in a game and things that you want to do with it. And then you kind of have to, as an exercise, like say, okay, what can I reasonably do, when I'm developing this? Let's just take a step back. But I think it's good for you to revisit some of those projects. Have you revisited other projects and increase the scope when you're doing a re-release, or do you generally try to retain the same, the same guidelines that you laid out for yourself previously?
uh, I've only started, I guess, to
Mhm.
revisit some of the stuff I've done. There's a lot actually, so
Wow.
I just had to dig in. Eh, and I I think I still want to limit everything, even though I change what do you call this? The concept.
Mhm.
I'm gonna try and strip it down first because one of the major reasons for not finishing those projects is because of like ambition. So most of them, if you take a look at now, it's actually well, not impossible, but pretty close to impossible to finish within reasonable time. So I'm trying to pick up some of this stuff and like see where I can finish and like try to
Mm.
set a time. So even though I don't necessarily have to stick to the deadlines, it's actually like a good guide, I guess, to see if I could finish it.
Mm. Okay, that is interesting to me because like when I think about all the game developers that I've met during my career, I think that what something that they want to do sometimes is like go back to some projects, make them bigger, make them crazier. But it takes a lot of discipline not to go too crazy because otherwise you just end up just like you said with a huge pile of unfinished projects and things that you kind of get overwhelmed by all the things that you have to do. And I wanted to ask you, like, if you could have been part of a development team, any development team, for a particular video game, what would that development team and game have been for you? For instance, in
Oh,
my case, probably something with Hideo Kojima because I'm like a huge fan of him. But what about you? What motivates you for the to be there?
well, it has to be Street Fighter.
Really?
Yeah, I just spent too much time on Street Fighter 2,
Mm.
especially when I was a kid. I used to play it a lot in the Sega Genesis or Mega Drive, depending on what area you're from.
Yeah,
And the arcades, man, it's just I these days it's kind of sad there are no more arcades. But back
true.
then, my mom would go to the grocery and give me a couple of change, and then
Yeah,
like leave me in the arcade center, and then I'd be there for hours and just play Street Fighter all the time. It's
that is so cool.
Those were fun times.
Who was your main character?
Uh, Ken and Vega, like Vega the Claw.
Ken and Vega. Yeah, Vega is so cool. I think, and it's so unfair because it's the only character that has a stage mechanic. He could like
Yeah,
climb on the wall and do that. That is like
yeah,
unique to that character. It felt so unfair.
yeah. So, if I had to work for like a game, that would be Street Fighter, and I know maybe it's not the same as before, like the magic of
Yeah,
fighting games, but Street Fighter is still like one of it has a sentimental value. Um when Street Fighter 4
yeah,
came out, like after a really long hiatus, it just
yeah.
drove me nuts to see the trailer. I'm like, what? Are you crazy? This thing is
Yeah.
going back again. So uh
What was it like in the year 2010, right, or something like that? Like it was around those years, I believe.
yeah, it's I just didn't really expect it to happen.
Hmm.
After Street Fighter 3, just everything went down. And
Yeah,
fighting games, people were saying that they're pretty much done with the exception of Tekken. So I was really surprised to see it. And it's actually nice right now. You see all these fighting games coming out again. There's more like Combat, there's Killer Instinct, there's Guilty
Yeah.
Gear. There's so many fighting games coming back again. It's like came back from the dead, I guess, the genre. And it might be actually one of the reasons why Toe did a little bit well, because people are starting to get into fighting games again. So maybe, I don't know.
yeah, and I think that the reaction for sure, is there. Just like, yeah, just having a game plan, and like the reaction time that you hit, and how you feel each one of the hits when you're playing on the keyboard. I think it's really cool, and I think that fighting games nowadays they have something that we didn't have back then. Like when you release an arcade, if one character was overpowered, I'm really sorry. Maybe when we do the turbo version in 2 or 3 years, we'll get it better. But nowadays you can just update your game, and you can fix balance issues. But back then, you kind of had to have everything perfectly, and otherwise you had to expect the players to kind of find use for a particular character. I remember that
Yeah.
I thought it was impossible to win with Zangief, and then I realized that there's like a couple of pros in Super Street
Mhm.
Fighter that they use Zangief super well, and I was like, wow, is this possible? I thought it was completely impossible to do that. So that is pretty cool. And how do you feel about that? About the chance of like doing different versions for your games? What is something that you generally find that you end up improving along the road?
Uh, well, like I said, I try to keep the scope to a minimum, and then after I call it done, like I try to look forward the next project. But for this particular project, there's been a lot of positive feedback from the people, and they're
Mhm.
saying, uh, what do you call this? Actually, the first time I released it, I thought I was gonna call it done, uh, even though it wasn't. I actually didn't finish it, but I guess I could call it done. It was able to stand on its own, like a proof
Uh,
of concept. And then people were saying like, "Oh, this is really nice," blah blah blah, blah. And you should update it and add more mechanics. And because of all the encouragement and the positive words, I just thought it'd be nice to update this game. And
Yeah,
even now, it's pretty awesome that people are reaching out saying that,
yeah.
like, I can't wait for more characters, more mechanics. So, I, I guess right now I don't know when to call it quits anymore, but I do plan to update the game Like I'm adding more characters, difficulty level,
Yeah.
because it's pretty
Hmm.
hard to get. When I first released it, it was too easy. That was like the first complaint. Is say it was nice, but it was too easy. And then I tried to make it more difficult, just a tiny bit. But then
Yeah.
now all of a sudden people are saying it's too difficult.
Yeah.
So I can't find a sweet spot.
Yeah. And I think that people are just gonna have to get good, right? Like that's get good, nerd. Just like putting that over there.
Yeah, yeah.
Claudio, what is your question from your side?
And I was thinking about what are you saying that this is one of those kind of game that you have to understand. You have to understand, the the moves. You have to understand the timing. You have to play a little bit to get into it, and that's very challenging and fun. So it's awesome. And another thing was so I think we understood that like your main inspiration for this particular game was Street Fighter, right?
Yes,
Yeah, of course.
and Punch
Uh,
Out.
and a Punch Out. Yeah, 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 yeah. So
Yeah.
yeah, that's awesome. Um, Yeah, I don't know. We should kind of, I don't know if we want to start this game,
Sure.
uh, and we're gonna little play. I know you,
Yeah.
Ignacio, are kind of
I'm
a pro
ready.
player with
No,
it.
not a pro player. Like when I think of toe to toe, I always remember of there is this girl that she's like a bodybuilder. Her name is Lean Beef Patty, and to me this is like Lean Beef Patty Simulator. So because like she looks like a bodybuilder. But it's a great game. I play with the mouse because I still haven't like gotten really used to playing with a keyboard. But yeah, it's like generally it's a fun experience, but it's super hard to get the timing right. If you get into a good groove, you win all the fights, but you need to be on a really
Yeah,
good groove to win the fights. Yeah, so that there's me playing right now a little bit just to see. I also realized that it's better to prioritize being offensive in this game. It's not so good if you block too much or try to dodge too much.
mhm.
But yeah, as you can see, it's a pretty difficult game, and I can't wait to see more characters for sure. Claudio, please ask any
But
questions you
the
want.
fun, yeah, I mean, the awesome thing that kind of Paolo did here is yeah, that if you go in the option, you can actually set up all the controls. I figured out that later because I was kind of complaining about by myself, complaining, not really, but you know, because it was kind of frustrating for me to play with the mouse. So then I went to option and I figured it out. It was the way to configure it with the keyboard. So you can kind of play two or two buttons like kind of most
Yeah,
the same time and make a little uh, little scheme, and that was awesome. It was very nice, and it's a thing that you don't do very often in a web
oh
game,
yeah,
and it's nice. And this game has, I think, it has lots of potentials.
yeah.
Uh,
You can actually use a control pad for that one.
Yeah,
So
I saw that as well. That
yeah,
is crazy that you can use a controller for this game. I was like, wow, this is so serious. I loved it. And I wanted to ask you one question as I'm playing the game and trying to go back into my groove and tie because I'm 2-3 losing right now. What was the thing that got you to make that first step into game development? Was it a game? Was it a moment in your life that you said, screw it, I'm going to start game development? What was it for you?
oh, well, it was love at first sight. So
Yeah.
the first time I touched the Game Boy, I just knew I needed to create a game. Like I swear, it's kind of grim to hear it now, but the first time I touched the Game Boy, I promised myself I wouldn't die without creating my own game.
Wow, that is so cool. It was like a
Yeah,
promise to yourself, right?
yeah, yeah. So
And
it's very
Yeah, and
fun.
I wanted to ask, like, so when you
The
made the promise
promise
to
to your
yourself,
kid.
yeah, right?
To your
And was it something that that you immediately found a community in the Philippines? Did you have to rely on others on the internet? Because I know you also did a lot with Newgrounds back in the beginning of your career, right?
Little bit, yeah. I
Yeah.
uploaded it there. Newgrounds has been around since forever, and
Yeah.
I was kind of surprised actually to find that the community is still there after like not being active for so long, and it was pretty good to find the community. But like in the Philippines right now, there's a gaming community. It's a lot better now. There's also a lot more what do you call this? Uh, Video game companies in the Philippines.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's just me, but I still think that there's still a stigma that if you're making or playing games, it's like you're not really doing anything productive. So, um, definitely starting to change now.
Yeah.
But mostly it's been online. The community. I found I've been trying to look for communities specifically for the smaller games
Mhm.
like my game, and I was really happy to find Gato because um, I mean I'm not trying to pull your leg, but
Yeah.
Gato like it's really it fits what I'm looking for. You know, like it's a
Yeah.
community that is focusing on the devs and like the people behind it are really passionate about video game development, and they're not just suits.
Yeah.
They really understand the games, and they're really doing everything that they can to expand the community, and they're just being transparent. So it's really nice to see that, and you can actually see the growth. So it's really nice to
Yeah.
find a community like Gato. But I'm always on the lookout to
Yeah.
meet more devs. Uh,
And I wanted to ask you questions. Have you, and by the way, something that you mentioned right now, which is like how Gato is not just suits, like running the company, is people that really care about this. And I think it's super important because one of the things that I first told some of the Gato crew when I was starting to meet them was that they need their community. When you see them in live events, when they see each other, they have this like feeling of like camaraderie that is super cool. And everybody's, they're always trying to help each other out in a way, and they're supporting their projects and they're playing them and giving them feedback. So I think that is something that it definitely, it brings a different flavor. And I wanted to ask about that specifically. Like, have you mentored any younger developers right now, younger than you, or other or other developers in the community? Are you taking that role as well? Because I'm assuming that a lot of people come to you with questions on like how to achieve a game that is so fluid, how to work on sprites, that kind of stuff. Does that happen to you?
well, since my career has been fairly young, I guess.
Mm.
It's a little bit more than a year, maybe about to hit two. Uh, there aren't really a lot of people, what do you call this, like under my wing, but a few people who have been asking me. So, because of that, I wanted to be able to share what I knew, because, like, for the longest time, I've been keeping it to myself. Like
Yeah.
trying to do game dev but never finishing the stuff, never publishing stuff. But after being able to finish some of the smaller projects and getting a bit of attention, a lot of people have been asking me like how I did it, like the technical stuff and all these
Yeah.
things. And because of this, I actually started a well, I don't know if I can plug this here. I just recently
Sure.
started a YouTube channel, and
Nice.
it's for the exact same purpose, which is to help other tiny indie game developers. So, to anyone watching this, well, can I make a plug?
Sure, of course. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah,
This is
yeah.
your
So,
moment, man. Of course.
I just made a channel called Tiny Fish. It's Tiny Fish Game Dev. It's mostly for the really small indie game developers. It's not. We're not talking about the really amazing ones because there's really a wide range of like indie game development scene. Think about it.
Mm.
some of them are like AAA quality because of
Wow.
the engines available to us, and there's
Yeah.
some that are like hobbyists, and then there's some that are like focused more on the retro. And I think there's like a room for everyone, you know.
Yeah.
And what I'm trying to focus on right now is more on the smaller side. So, in Tiny Fish, I plan on helping out other people who are making these tiny games, like fun, bite-sized games. And whatever I know and whatever I learn, because I'm fairly new to indie game development. So whatever it is I learn, I try to share it if I can. So
That is really
check it
cool
out.
because yeah, you feel like you're giving back to the community, right?
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. Plus, I never really expected to
Yeah.
get attention. I guess I was just trying to do it before for
Yeah.
myself. Like even when I was younger, it was more for the challenge. I wanted to make games. I wanted to prove to myself that I can make games. And then I reached a
Yeah.
point where knew
Che in un
I
punto
can
sei
make games,
Yeah.
but I
Yeah.
couldn't finish anything. So now I'm able to finish something and getting like feedback from people. I just
Yeah.
I'm just learning a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
So
And I wanted to ask, like, what is one advice that you would give a younger version of yourself? Like, what would be the advice there?
just start simple and
Yeah.
don't mind what anybody else is thinking. You know, I used to worry about that a lot. Um, I used to think like, especially as I mentioned before, there's a stigma to game development. When I was growing up, it wasn't really taken seriously. My parents, uh, for example, my father is a businessman, and he would think that if he sees me making games,
Yeah.
he's like, oh yeah, yeah, you go have your fun. But it's not really,
Yeah.
it's not really something that he understands.
Yeah.
Whereas now it's like a whole giant industry. Like GTA, for example, is like the budget for GTA is crazy high. So before growing up, uh, that was almost unimaginable. So
Yeah.
you see that, like even now, everyone has their phones and everyone's playing games. Like even grandmas would bring out their phones and
True.
play. So it's just
Yeah.
a different, uh, I guess,
So,
generation now. People grew up with games, and it's not uh, frowned upon as much as before.
yeah.
So I want to get back to it. I just kind of wish I didn't waste much time worrying
Yeah.
about that. So
Yeah. So it's like basically like go start simple. Don't worry about anybody else. Just do your thing. And I think that is one of the cool things that I think about when I see Gato and the platform that they have developed, all the team behind it, is that they really treat it like an expression of the developer, right? Like everything that you want to do in a game, like at the end of the day, is like an exercise of what you want to share with the world. And I think that is super important because you have something in your mind. So when you go to bed, or when you're thinking, throughout the day, you're daydreaming about a mechanic, about the game, about a character, and then you bring that, you start developing it, and then you share it with everyone else. And it must feel a little bit scary sometimes to say like, well, I've done it, I've did it for myself, but it would be good if someone played my game, right? Like, do you ever feel that, like, oh, I'm kind of scared to publish this game, to put it out there, to see what people think about it?
yes, yes, actually, it's funny that you mentioned that. When I was thinking about like publishing before, it was like creating games. Before it was more for the challenge of finishing something to prove that I could do it. But now that I can do it, it, it it feels kind of empty until I
Okay.
actually like there's no more challenge, right? You achieve your goal, and then when people started playing my game and started giving me feedback, just helped me realize like how much I've been missing by not releasing, because video games played a big part of my life. It's helped me through bad times. So the fact that I could actually help people, like smile for the day, like enjoy a couple of hours, minutes, whatever, like even just a few seconds. If I could just make people happy, entertain them, it has has a different kick. So it has
Yeah.
a different satisfaction compared to just knowing that you can do something,
Mhm.
like knowing that you can make a difference. It's just so much better, you know.
That
So
is crazy. Yeah, and before I
It's
let
very nice.
Claudio, by the way, is playing the game, and you're doing pretty good. I managed to win the 20 matches. By the way, it was 20-6, so I'm getting better at toe to toe. Claudio, how are you feeling the game on your side?
It's very awesome, very fun, and yeah, it's awesome. It's very fluent. The controls are dynamics. Are I mean very responsive,
Yeah, I
and
just like that you can shoot the Angry Bird. Like I was watching that.
yeah,
Yeah, that's pretty
I mean,
cool.
that should give you an idea on like what year that was released. Like
Of
at the
course.
time, like Angry Birds was everywhere, and they kept me
Yeah.
thinking,
and you,
like,
and as you can see, I mean, I'm very curious about because this has a very completely different style from toe to toe, and
oh
I
yeah,
think it's good for a game developer to have not just a mono style, but it can adapt uh, to
yeah. I'm what do you
the
call
kind
this?
of
I try
game.
to make that a priority. I'm very hungry. I try to learn as much as I can. So I try to explore different art styles. Like I just love learning, you know. So I try not to stick with one style too much. And maybe someday I will, but for now, I
Yeah.
just like exploring, and
Yeah,
this is
good.
something that
Yeah, it's good because you're expanding your repertoire of the things that you can do. And I think when I see this game, when I see toe to toe, is completely different. And also, like, if someone would tell me, like, okay, the same developer did this, I would be like, there's no way, because like each one of them like feels so unique, in the mechanics and everything else. And I wanted to ask, like, do you ever like what is the moment that you feel the most nervous during the stage of game development? And I'm gonna explain why I'm asking that question. I met a studio here in Mexico many years ago called Estacion P, and I met them on the week before they released their game, and I've never seen so many crazy people in my life. Like they were drinking coffee, like 2 liters of coffee every day. They were going crazy. They were saying like, if I don't release this game, I'm gonna kill myself. Like everybody was super crazy all the time. And like, what is your stressful moment? Like, do you have a stressful moment and play a moment that gives you more anxiety, or how do you feel generally?
Oh, well, back in the game industry when I was still
Mm.
working for video game companies, before release, it's really Hell Week. It's really crunch culture. That's actually one of the reasons why I wanted to get out into indie game
Yeah.
development. But I'm guessing it's probably going to be the same thing for indie game developers. That you can't really be mad at the boss because like you're the
Yeah.
boss and
Exactly.
you're also
Yeah.
the slave. But I guess for now, since I haven't really done any major releases or something, these are just small bite-sized games. The pressure isn't really that much compared to like what other indie game developers are experiencing, you know. And I guess for them, it makes a big difference. Maybe I'll get there someday. I do plan
Yeah.
to explore that. But for now, I guess the only like thing that makes me nervous about the games I've released so far is like what to do after because I, I didn't really know what to do. Like the marketing side, I didn't really know what to do before. I was pretty, I'm a pretty quiet guy, so
Huh?
like I love making games, but I really don't like marketing them. So I don't know anything about marketing. So it's only recently that I started interacting with people, like learning all these things about how you should interact in a community, meet new devs, check out their games, blah 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 blah. So
Mm.
yeah, I think that's the most difficult part for me. Uh,
Yeah.
like what makes me the most nervous, but nothing really serious, at least for now.
Yeah. And to me it's like super fun because I think that the pressure, just like you said, you're your own boss. So in indie development, you're not worried about the publisher that said like, oh, they already gave me the development kit. I already promised everyone that it's going to be this week. Everybody's anxious to play my game. All the platforms, they're waiting for it to be developed. I think here is more like, it must feel sad in a way that you're no longer working on a project. When you finish it, you put it out there, you're like, okay, I'm done. What do I do? And it's like you just sitting alone. It's like that meme of Pablo Escobar sitting, waiting. He's like in the pool. He's standing. Do you feel like that as well? Do you feel like, oh, the project is complete now? What do I do with my life? Or how do you
Uh,
feel?
it's just tiny bit, just a tiny bit. There's also a feeling of relief and satisfaction
Yeah,
from like accomplishing the mission, I guess. Uh,
yeah.
so I guess it's bittersweet. It's both happy and sad, but I think all things considered, it's like a pretty balanced 50-50. So you feel happy and sad.
Yeah, and yeah, that is completely, how I imagine it, because you are taking the champagne, you're doing something awesome, but also it's like, okay, what's the next adventure, right? Or what's the next thing that I'm gonna do?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, and I wanted to ask one thing. With Claudia, actually, we had this question together. What other games do you have that people that only know your work at Gato still haven't played? What are those games about?
Well, if you exclude the unfinished ones that
Yeah,
probably the whole world will never see, uh,
yeah.
I actually participated in a game jam before, the Nokia game jam. So it's a tribute to, again, my first mobile phone this time, the 3310. So
Okay.
it's just a simple basketball game made in the like style of the Nokia phones back then. So yeah, and the others are still a work in progress. There's also, oh yeah, the Watch Trader, which I haven't uploaded to Gato yet, is all about trading. Well, it's Dope Wars, but with watches. So basically, you buy and sell watches
Okay.
within 31 days. So, uh, yeah, I mean, it kept me entertained when I was younger, and the reason actually why I recreated that, apart from its simplicity, is because I actually was looking for that game on the phone. It's just that I couldn't find anything, so I just decided to make my own, remake that. So
Nice.
I still play it on my phone every now and then. So when I'm busy, like outside, I
Yeah.
just try to play it every now and then.
Wow, that is so cool. And when are we gonna see them in Gato, man? Like people want to see them in Gato. Like you have to bring those amazing pieces over to Gato so we can check them out. That would be awesome.
Soon, probably within the month, I'll be
Mhm.
uploading it this week. I'll just prepare the stuff
Yeah.
and
And
start
ready to win
making.
the next Game Quest.
I'm saving it for the Gato
No,
Game
no.
Quest too.
Oh, that's a good idea. That's a good idea. That's
Let's
cool.
see, let's see. Awesome.
Yeah.
So
Claudia,
I
yeah.
had
Go
just
ahead.
this in mind. How much time did it take to develop all the toe to toe, like from the beginning to end? How much time?
It's not one sprint because, for example, the
Oh,
first release was for the game jam. I forgot how long it took. I think it was uh two no, less than a month. I don't remember the exact time, uh, but I wasn't able to work on it because I was working on other stuff. I don't know if I mentioned this. I actually have a different job, completely unrelated to video games. I am a real estate broker,
Okay, nice.
completely unrelated
oh,
to video games. So,
that
uh,
makes sense. The watch game.
yeah, so I would actually do uh, the reason I chose Construct 3 and for as a game engine is because I could use it. I could make games using a phone. So I would create the graphics and some of the programming on my phone and then go to my PC and then work on it again, and then go back to my phone. So I was able to work on it even though I was out. Uh,
Okay. That's very uncommon workflow. That's very cool, very nice. I like it.
yeah, yeah. I actually use hacks in OpenFL
It's
before. I
very
used to use that
punk.
all the time. Yeah, yeah.
Love
But
it.
the reason I switched to Construct was because I couldn't make it run on my phone, and I wanted to be able to like develop on the go, which was pretty handy because like during the game jam, actually half the time I was out of the country. I was in Japan visiting my wife's family. So I wasn't if I was using a different engine that didn't allow me to work on my phone, I wouldn't be able to finish on time. So uh, I thought that was amazing, and it's one of the reasons why I'm sticking now with Construct 3, even though it's not open source. Um, yeah,
That is cool. I mean,
Awesome.
and one thing that I also wanted to ask you is, what do you think the Gato team can do to make the platform better? In your opinion, like what's something that you would like to see in Gato as well, that you still haven't seen?
uh, well, there's still a room for improvement for sure, but it's a baby, so I
Hmm.
can't really fault Gato for that. But I think some of the things that I've already mentioned is already being developed and will be rolled out soon. I think the uploader could use a bit of improvement. That's one.
Hmm.
But
Yeah.
something I haven't mentioned is if you take a look at the UI, if you drop
Okay.
down, you can actually see the notifications. I'd see a lot because of the Gato Game Quest. People would like your game,
Yeah.
and something that I do wish is possible is to see like an archive of the stuff, because after seeing the drop down list of the people who liked your game, it disappears. And I don't know if I'm just not looking hard, but I can't seem to find a way to look at like the old ones. And the thing is, when people like my game, I try to stalk them for a bit. I try to take a look at their habits, like what they do, if they made games, like their preferences, So, for example, when I see the drop down and I see like 100 messages, right? After
Mm.
clicking on it, I lose the names of these people, and there's no way for me to check them out and
Mhm.
like even thank them if
Yeah.
for playing the game and liking the stuff. So that's one thing that I do wish can be approved. It's a small thing, but um, for me, it's a big thing because I really like interacting with the people who play my games.
That is really
Uh,
cool. Yeah. That is great feedback, actually.
and what else? Uh, I guess that's it for now.
Okay.
Maybe yeah, no, that's it.
Okay.
I know more features are being rolled out already, so
Okay.
I'll
Okay.
just stand by for that. Like a lot of stuff.
Of course. And I'm gonna leave the last question to Claudio. Claudio, please ask
Well,
ask away.
maybe we can discuss a bit about the future of this game. What if you plans? When will be the next updates, the next expansions of the potential? I don't know, some sequel or some I don't know, with some more adaptation or bringing like two different version, kind of you could make it think maybe like a desktop version, a mobile version, like giving like two kind of different aspects. I don't know. Are you planning to do any editing on it?
Yes, actually, I'm planning on adding a few more characters. I think the one I have so far is 4 new characters, and after that, I'm gonna call it a day for that game.
Mhm.
But people have been asking for more features. I think I'm gonna be doing like a sequel to that. maybe not
Oh,
in Game Boy graphic style, maybe in 3D. I don't know,
Ooh.
since I'm a
oh,
3D artist, or maybe like a different console style, like maybe the what do you call this? The Mega Drive, since I also love the Mega
Nice.
Drive. Yeah, so I don't know, but the thing is, when I released this, I wasn't really expecting that much attention, but people have been coming up to me and saying, like, yo, this is good, and you should keep this up, and like continue to develop it, and it's just really encouraging. And people are saying that if you actually like continue doing this, it would do well in like um like it would do well basically, like even on Steam, like whatever. You could sell it basically, since right now it's
definitely.
free.
Yes.
So I mean, yeah, and I think I do kind of believe them because of the positive feedback I've been getting. It's just a real um confidence booster, like
Yeah.
before I wasn't really expecting anyone to play it, and then when people started encouraging me and saying like this is really good, blah 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 blah, and people started donating and commenting, and like even like reaching out, people have been reaching out via email saying like, hey, you know what, like me and my classmates, we play this all the time in school, blah blah blah. I know it's a small thing, but like for me, like wow,
Yeah.
this is exactly what I was missing out before when I was in publishing and just trying to do games for myself. Like being able to make a difference in other people's lives, like even just a few seconds, it gives a like different satisfaction, and I think I want more of that. So
Yeah.
yeah, so I'm gonna continue doing this, and after updating Toe with a few more characters, maybe I'll make a sequel, maybe like Toe Round 2, or I don't
Mm.
know.
Toe three toe. That's gonna be like the number three. It should be toe three toe.
Yeah,
Yeah, something silly like that. Like that would be fun. And
yeah.
okay, I lied. I have two rapid fire questions. Okay, the last ones for sure. So the one is, will you ever do a real estate broker simulator? Okay, will you try to do that at some point?
It's
Yeah.
gonna sound funny, but I actually have that planned. I just
No
know if
way.
anybody else. I just don't know if anybody else would play it
I
because
would totally play
personally.
it. I would
Oh yeah.
totally play it. Yes, yes. I'm a big fan of those simulator games. So big
Well,
fan.
maybe then I can explore it. But personally,
Okay.
me, I don't really, well, not to knock on the profession, I don't really enjoy real estate. I love making games, and I wish I
Yeah.
could say the same for real estate, but it's not. It's just that the appreciation of land value is just too crazy to ignore. So that's the reason
Yeah.
why.
Of
But
course.
yeah, I guess maybe we could make that happen.
That is cool. And the last question: how did you feel when you won the award in the Gato Game Quest?
I also couldn't believe it actually. uh I don't know. It was surreal. To be honest, I wasn't really expecting to win, and kind of amazing how everything happened so fast. Actually, when Gato reached out the first time, I was actually supposed to ignore it because at the time, I think I mentioned this before. You guys were pretty new, so I didn't really know much about it.
Yeah.
It wasn't until I spoke with Wani and I also looked into the people behind it that I actually decided, like, hey, like maybe, this is worth a look. And I think I did the right decision because I really like what God has been doing so far. Uh, like one thing that I noticed is that Gato is trying to do things the right way. Because, for example, my game Toto has been in so many websites that I'm not even aware of, and they're getting so much plays and stuff. And I think it's pretty common, especially if you have a web version of your game, to just rip it and upload it to a website, and like they gain the traffic, blah blah blah. Blah. And in my head at the time, I didn't really mind that they stole the game. It's just that I kind of wish they had told me about it so I could update the stuff, because if you take a look at some of the websites that have it, it's actually the outdated version. But since they're not really coordinating with me, it's gonna stay that way, like the old version the entire time. So with Gato, the, like they could have done the same thing, but they actually reached out and like did a whole brief like what they wanted to do, and like they gave a proper introduction, just trying to do things the right way. So that was really promising, and I've been really enjoying like seeing how fast Gato is growing, and like even though, what do you call this, uh the community, I guess. I mentioned this in my previous video. When I first joined Gato, even though I was already convinced that like this is worth a shot, I actually felt out of place because if you take a look at the social media posts, it was mostly like in Spanish, or
Yeah.
it was mostly Spanish, right? So
Yeah.
I felt like I got invited by mistake because of my name, Paolo, since it's pretty common in Spain
Yeah.
or Argentina, Brazil. So like, oh, let's
Yeah.
invite this guy, Paolo. He's but
Speak Spanish
they
too. Yeah.
realized, yeah, and then they realized too late that wait, he's a Filipino. He's a faker. So but
Yeah.
like leading up to the game quest, I actually noticed that I don't know if I'm just imagining things. Like it seems to have shifted to a bigger audience, and
Yeah.
like the entries, even in like the game quest,
Yeah.
I feel like it's shifted to a bigger target, and
Absolutely.
it's global right now, and I think that's really amazing because, like, for starters, Latin America is already a big target, and like going global is like just on a different level, and I think that's really good. And I hope I can see more people who speak English or
Yeah.
Filipino
Yeah.
on
People
Gato.
speaking Tagalog, that would be really
Yeah.
cool.
So, yeah.
Yeah, awesome. So thank you again so much, Paulo, for everything that you do for the community. If any last shout outs, anything, you can of course plug your social media, your YouTube channel. The floor is yours.
I guess that's it. If you haven't checked it out, check out Tiny Fish. I try to on YouTube. I try to post videos on indie video game development, and I try to share everything I've learned and am learning, will learn. So uh, it's obviously gonna be a never-ending journey. So I'm pretty sure you can pick up a thing or two. Uh, and yeah, I guess that's it. I guess
Cool.
shout out to the people who played my game. Couldn't have done it without you. And thanks to Gato, thanks to Wani, of course you guys, and Lucho behind the scenes. Yeah, Lucho, thank you.
Thank you so much. But there you have it, folks. Don't forget, you can check the chat. We already posted the YouTube channel Tiny Fish Game Dev. And thank you again, Paolo. We're gonna stay here with Claudio, but have a good one. I'll see you on the
Thank
next
you,
one, man. Take
Paolo.
care. Thank
See
you.
ya, see ya.
You're doing an amazing job.
Yeah.
Thank you, thank you. Have a
Continue
good
like
one.
this. Awesome.
Awesome. So great. That was Paolo joining us. And with Claudio, we have something really fun to share. Am I right, Claudio?
Right.
Yeah. We have one game that I'm gonna start sharing my screen, and you can talk us a little bit about this game. Because I think it's very important to you, right?
Okay. Okay. Nice. Yeah, this is the last game I have uploaded to Gato. Actually, it was kind of of an experiment, kind of a prototype project, where I was messing around with the simple mechanics and yeah, this just one screen arcade game without just just as simple as that.
Yeah, it's
And
simple, but it's addictive, man. This is super addictive.
that was what I was looking for. And yeah, it has uh, it has some nice
Oh, I was so close. Yeah, I got
yeah.
to
Let's see
282.
if we can add a leaderboard to it anytime
Yeah.
soon, so people can compete it. Would be nice. And
Yeah, and
yeah.
what was the brain worm you had in your brain when you started developing this game? Because what was in your mind? You said I wanted to create something dangerously addictive, or what was in your brain?
It was like creating something simple that to stay in one screen, that it doesn't
Mhm.
move, that it bounces, that it uses the screen actually as the layout, so it bounces from a
Mm.
screen to another. In the beginning, actually, uh, um, I made it without the whiteboard. It was right on the edge of the phone, let's say, of the
Yeah,
but it was a little tricky with some kind of mobiles, some kind
yeah,
of phones. So I decided to put that frame. Um,
yeah.
but yeah,
Because like nowadays, you have those phones that kind of curve around the edge.
exactly,
So yeah, that
exactly.
was gonna make it like more complicated for those.
Yeah,
But this is a great addictive game, and we
yeah.
have a
It's
couple
very
more.
simple
Yeah,
game, very
yeah,
simple, but yeah,
yeah.
can be
It's oh yeah.
addictive, and
I like the idea of like a game that you kind of did it like a study, right? Of like, okay, can I do a game that
mhm.
is simple, that we're just focusing on the screen, and have
Yeah,
this
it's
bouncing
kind of
mechanic? Yeah,
yeah, kind of like Paolo was saying before, to put limits. You
yeah,
put yourself some limits, and then you try to do it, and you don't go any further.
that
And
is awesome. That is
it
awesome.
was done like in I don't know, 2 3 days
Wow,
maybe.
nice. This is really cool. And yeah, now we're gonna show another one. So whenever you're ready, Claudio, you can share your
Yeah.
screen. We're gonna
Okay.
have another cool one coming up. This one is called OK Tokyo Golf Challenge. I should be playing that game, by the way, because I love golf. It's very relaxing. But I'm gonna let you play that one, Claudio. So that one
Okay.
is 100% yours. So whenever you're ready, we're gonna move on to OK Tokyo Golf
Let me
Challenge.
see.
Sure, of course.
I'm
Take your time. No worries. It's
did we
actually
have the link
yeah.
for it?
The
Okay.
link is on Discord actually.
Okay. Okay.
You
Okay.
can check it out there. By the way, folks, you can
Okay.
find the
Here it
first
is.
game as Invader's Trap on Gato. Make sure you visit gato.us and then you can go straight into Invader's Trap. And now Claudio is loading the game, so we can move on to that screen when he's ready. Okay, Tokyo Golf Challenge. I can't wait to see what this golf game is all about because I
Hey, yeah,
really like
because
it.
I never played actually this game. This is the first time,
Okay,
so let's see.
it could be whatever. Nobody knows.
Be whatever. Play. Okay. All right. Nice, nice. I love physics.
Oh,
Okay.
that is good. I like that. I just love sprite art. Like
Oh, I can even okay, okay. I got it.
yeah.
I can start from the center.
Okay.
I'm gonna make it like that. What do you think, Ignacio? Is that good?
I like it. That is a good shot, man. It's gonna be a good shot. Go for
All
it.
right.
I really like this. It's called. I can't remember right now. I have the book in front of me, and I can't remember. But it's like you have two elements. You have the marble sculptures in the background. I really like that. Plus the moss, the grass that is growing. Um, Very common to see that in ruins. I think it's good for art direction. I'm a pretty big fan of that. It's like bio something, but I can't remember the name of the architecture right now. But basically, It's
Mm.
a really cool design aesthetic. It reminds me of the Marble Garden Zone from Sonic. So I really, really like that. It's one of those cool things when you see it. And of course, sprite art, always beautiful to see, always great to see.
Yeah,
It's one of those cool
it's
things.
always
And
nice
yeah,
to
wow,
play
look at that.
around
Look at
with
the
cheesies.
bounce. Look at that bounce. That was difficult.
Oh, that was crazy. Awesome.
Yeah. Nice. That is awesome. But yeah, you really have to play with the layout in the game, so that makes it, a lot more difficult than it initially looks like. Oh, there you go.
Yeah.
Nice. Look at that. That is pretty
Uh,
cool. Yeah, I'm just watching it on stream right now, and that is awesome.
yeah.
Great. So that is a good game. That was pretty cool. That is OK Tokyo Golf. Remember, the first one we played is Invader's Trap. The second one is OK Tokyo Golf. And the last one, the third one that I'm going to be playing is called Crown Crowd, that I already preloaded here. So let's check that one out. And it's a game that is in Portuguese. So I'm going to translate for you guys. It says like, villager, with all due respect, your majesty, this is just my point of view. This is like your point of view. I represent the whole realm. Don't forget about that, says the king. And we're going to move on. Okay. Villager number one. What are we going to do now? The people are they're starving. They're starving right now. Strength is in union. If we all unite, we can all challenge the king, says villager number two. I agree. The union is our strongest weapon. So let's see where the story leads us. The wife says, but that is very dangerous. Innocent people will die. And the villager says, unfortunately, my love, that is the price of life. I like it. It's a game with a lot of plot. So we can move with WASD, and you have to form a crowd. This reminds me of a game I love to play that is called Oklos, that was done by an Argentinian developer. This developer, either Brazilian or Portuguese from Portugal. I love this. And it says like any help is welcome. So we have some animals here. So we can also recruit the animals. That is cool. So we can form a mob, a crazy mob, and we have to be careful about not losing the mob. So I'm gonna bunch them all together here as best as I can. And let me see what happens if they go off screen. No, cool. And we can just gather everyone. So this is gonna be a challenge. Oh, and the wife too. Totally forgot. She's in. Okay. This game is doing a really good job at like teaching me about things. So I can fight that guy with two. I need the chick. Okay, this is already becoming a really fun game. Chickens are in. Everybody's in. Oh, getting all these chickens to move to the right direction is driving me crazy. I'm just gonna. There you go. Now you messed up. And cool, we got everyone. Wow, look at this. If this isn't Mario
Huge
3
map.
overlay, I love it. This is awesome. And I'm on that side, and I can start forming my group of angry villagers to dethrone the king. This game, again, is called Crown Crowd. Please check it out. People are coming out of the houses. They're immediately getting recruited, and they get a sign saying no. I love it. This is so cool. So strength is in union. Really cool game. Love the mechanic. I love the design. Like, it's very clean, and the colors. And let me see if people fall to. No, they don't fall to the water. So we need 10 people to defeat those guards. I just wanna defeat those guards before I let everybody go. So let me just get everyone here. So we just brought the strength down to 1, and now we are just putting everyone through the door. Let's see what happens. There are more chickens, more people. So this is a really cool mechanic because you really have to explore the map to gather everyone. What happens if I go and I die? Let me see. Oh, someone else gets the crown. Okay, I like that. So you don't have a main character. Everybody's the main character that is also in tune with the game. So awesome. Please check it out. It's called Crown Crowd. Wonderful game. I kind of lost that one because I forgot to add the chickens at the bottom.
That
So
looks
that
fun.
is it. Yeah, it's a fun game. Let me get this person here. So remember, guys, we guys and gals, actually, we have Invaders Trap, OK Tokyo Golf, and Crown Crowd. So make sure you check those out on gato.us. And otherwise I'm gonna keep playing forever. I'm just gonna stop myself because I'm gonna keep playing forever otherwise. Cool, Claudio. Any last words before we close the first episode of Know the Dev that featured Paolo Salatin?
Oh, thank you so much for having me here, and it was nice talking to Paolo. I think he's an awesome guy, and he's doing a really nice job. And was really interesting to talk with him and see the process behind his head.
That's
Awesome.
really cool. Yeah, and one thing that I really liked is for real getting to know the dev. What was his motivation? What started him in this journey? How he thinks
Mhm.
about it? Because I think this is something that is very individual and it varies a
Mm,
lot person to person. So getting to know Paulo
yeah.
and pushing him not only to put all of his games on Gato, but also to do a second version of Toe, etc. And the real estate broker simulator, it would be very fun. So it
Yeah.
was a great first episode. So thank you all for watching. It's probably gonna go on Gato's YouTube channel, so we'll see you there as well. Please leave a comment. Don't forget to follow us on all social media, but on the YouTube channel and on Twitch as well. Just twitch.tv/Gato is us. My name has been Ignacio, and with me is
Claudio, and thank you. Ciao, ciao. Have
Ciao
a good night.
Ciao. Take care.